Welcome to Oink Time Podcast. I'm Jen Carnivale.
I'm Ben Elwood.
Today we have an awesome chat with comedian Daniel Towns.
What was the word that Daniel Towns pulled today, Jennifer?
It was, of course, passion.
Oh, passion. And when I think passion, I think Daniel Towns. It's a great conversation. We talk about his passion for consumer advocacy. And we talk about a Nazi dog.
We talk about a whole bunch of stuff, so check it out. It's a great episode. If, of course, you like Oink Time Pod, please rate it 5 stars. Tell all your friends, share it. Now you can actually contact us if you want to suggest a word on our Twitter at OinkTimePod or Gmail, oinktime@gmail.com. You can, of course, find Ben.
At Ben Elwood 11 on Twitter.
And me at Jen_Carnivale. We have a huge thank you to, of course, our producer, Sean Allen. Check him out, his podcast, In Brackets, with Sean Allen. And we're happy to report we have a sponsor. Young Henry's Brewery, thank you for giving alcohol to Benny and me.
It's always easier to get the truth out of a guest when we've got a couple of beers.
It's awesome.
And if there's any listeners in Brisbane, I will be there on the 18th of July with a fantastic comic, Eric Hutton. We're filming some of our stand-up at the Junk Bar, which is 215 Waterworks Road in Brisbane, Queensland. Come along. We're kicking off at 8 p.m. It's free. Come watch us do some comedy.
Check him out. And now let's get to it. Daniel Towns and passion. Today on Oink Time, we have the wonderful Daniel Towns.
Oh, great Australian comedian. Great Aussie comedian.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be back in the media.
Thanks, Danny T. Have you ever been called Danny?
I think so, probably at some point. I've been called every variation. Danny, Dan.
Ben always asks, so I'm going to. How would you describe yourself in terms of what you do? Like, are you like, I'm a comedian, or I'm a writer? Like, if you have to fill out that little form at the airport.
Oh, at the airport, I just put performer. Just because I got sick of when you actually had to speak to someone customs going, oh, tell us a joke.
Yeah.
Like I did. And it's for me, it completely depends who I'm talking to. Like I had this conversation with a physio this morning and I had to tell him honestly because he's like, how did you get the injury? What do you do for work?
Yeah. Right. You're like, man, I got it from standing up.
No, but you know, like I can't, it's not like, oh, mate, but taxi drivers, I just say I work in IT. You know, so it depends who I'm talking to. I've told people I clean toilets.
Wait, what injury did you have to go to the physio for? And was it work-related?
No way.
Well, it could be because it's my shoulder, so maybe it is from holding a microphone.
No, but if you had an injury from doing comedy, it would be more around the times that you're not working than when you are working. Because if you're a professional comedian, you're spending 10 to 12 hours a day doing fuck all.
Yeah.
Like being completely sedentary, right?
And
I
any
think,
injuries
honestly,
are usually mental
And
when it comes to...
all right, so we're here for a diagnosis. No, like honestly, like all I know is like this year at Melbourne, like the month away, because the comedy festival was going on and my girlfriend and I were doing some serious stuff at the time. Like there was a lot of pressure on me and I basically...
You were doing some serious
what does that mean?
stuff
You were
with
doing
your
s-
girlfriend?
we had two very serious things. I had two very serious things going on in my life at once.
The way you described it, you go, I had some really
Like it was
serious stuff
important.
going
It was
on.
important.
I had like a Mission Impossible ticking clock
dun,
type
dun,
scenario
It was
with
just
my girlfriend.
It was just important. Like there was a deadline, right? So and basically, like
You're such a cagey
A love
motherfucker.
deadline.
Oh, I'm not gonna fucking elaborate. I'm not gonna
A
talk about
hard
it.
deadline.
I didn't move. Like honestly, I wasn't moving for like 12 hours a day. But like, man, you could stab. Like I slipped a disc in my back. Like
Yeah.
you could stab me in the leg with a dart, and like I wouldn't feel it. Like the outside of my leg is just tingling. And it's like
Really?
because of a disc in my back is pinching on my nerves. So like I've had it before.
It's so
And that's
fucked up, man.
That is fucked up.
So that's
yeah.
why I'm at the physio. Like my body is just, but it's from Melbourne, like from sitting on the couch for 12 hours a day on a laptop with my legs folded, hunched over. I've already got bad posture.
Anyone with an actual job hates you right now. You're like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sitting on the couch.
I've got
Man,
RSI and
I'm
back
working,
problems
though.
from
Shit
not
was
working.
so hard.
No, but I was working.
Like stuff
That's the
was so
thing.
tough. I was sitting on the couch with bad
Working,
posture
working.
for 12 hours a day.
Working.
Do you reckon like do you have nerve damage, Jen? Or
I've
back
had
pain?
nerve problems with pinched nerves and stuff. You've heard me complain about it when I had tingling
Yeah.
in my hand for ages for no reason.
I've got nerve damage in my left shoulder and it sends tingling pins and needles shooting up and down my left arm, which causes me to have an anxiety attack because that's the exact symptom of a heart attack.
yeah.
And then the
God.
anxiety attack causes your heart to race faster, and then all you feel is the tingling. And so it's just this like kind of recursive, reflexive anxiety.
the
loop.
worst.
It's the fucking
And
worst,
especially
man.
when you Google what it is and you go, all right, okay, it could be one of these 3 things.
You should never Google
never
what it
Google
is.
it.
Well, I think Googling's the best way to do it.
No,
because
no.
If you're rational, you can always, I think, like there's a couple of things that are, like even again in Melbourne, like I had this thing, right, and I could not believe it. I thought it was muscular because my body was like, I'd just stand up and the whole thing would crack. And I'm like, I have never been in so much, like my body has not been in
And
so-
it was like nerve damage.
No, well, that's my leg, but like my body was just bad posture on the couch for a month, and it just like I didn't move apart from the hour I was on stage. I did not move for a month. You know
It
what I
sounds
mean?
like
and I don't even move on stage.
that's true.
So I went from being extremely like I exercise all the time. So I went from being active to nothing with bad posture. Legs
Why? But
folded.
why didn't you move?
Was because I had so much to do.
But
He had
what
this
did you have to
deadline with his
do?
girlfriend that he
Like
won't
the
go
deadline
into.
with
But that's
your
not the
girlfriend.
point of this story. That's the point.
Totally not.
Because you're saying you're trapped on a couch for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I was doing something important.
What were you doing?
Like, why is it?
Because I've done comedy for a long time.
It had nothing to do with
And-
comedy. It was a live thing. That's what I
it
said.
was a
Like, I
live
had this
thing.
important
your
thing.
paperwork for 12
Yeah, and we
hours
had
a day
something. Yeah,
for
like
a
that's what I
month
said. That had
was-
nothing to do with
was
comedy.
life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, it is when your partner's from another country.
So why didn't you just say that in the
Why
beginning?
do we have to? I don't want to talk about it on a
You
podcast.
can't open the door to something and then not
I didn't
discuss
open
it.
it.
I
I just
agree.
said I had
Yes, you did.
I said I had something important going on, and you guys are nosy. Like just because you're trying to
Hey.
make it in the media doesn't mean you need to
Yeah,
do
we
the
want some kind of scandal
podcast
from
equivalent of
comedian Daniel
clickbaiting.
Towns.
You know?
Daniel Towns has a girlfriend.
Like we all talked beforehand. It's like, what are we comfortable about not talking about here? Like Howard L would like it if I, he
Ellen
didn't want
would
us.
love it.
He didn't want us to talk about his.
Show the boy attention. Benny
No,
will be
look,
really
it's
happy.
look, it's not. I like it's it's nothing. Like yes, I will. Like we went through.
It is
paperwork.
nothing, you're right, but it sounded really suspicious.
It sounded a
Yeah,
lot
like,
more
look, there's
kind of
nothing-
nefarious than it actually
There's
was.
nothing more I hate. Look, all I'm saying is that like it was an important thing. I was trying to skim to the actual point of why my body's fucked, and you guys got hung up on a tiny little detail. What I
Because
thought was a
still
tiny
don't understand
detail.
why it involves sitting for 12 hours a day.
Because I
But
was like,
let's
do you know
not
what?
dwell.
Do you know what's involved in fucking
In
doing
what?
that visa paperwork?
In visa paperwork. Oh,
Like
now I have something.
yeah, here you go. Here's your,
makes
here's, your,
sense.
here's your fucking content.
He's so angry. We've just
I'm not
started.
angry.
No, you're not angry.
I'm not angry at all.
You're not.
Do you think
You're a happy man.
Do you think nerve damage and back pain as we know it existed when humans were living the way we were designed to live?
Well, our bodies have evolved a lot, so it's hard to tell.
No, but like when we were hunting and gathering and that kind of stuff, like there wasn't that much sedentary kind of stuff, and you were probably dead before you were 35, right?
Yeah, but they wouldn't have physically been like you and me. They wouldn't have had the option of sitting watching shit for 12
No, but that's
hours
what I'm
a
saying.
day.
Because they didn't sit and because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
moved the way they were built to move, do you think that they experience pain like we do? Do you think that was just an inevitability of
Are
being
you talking
alive?
about specific nerve pain?
I'm talking about lower back pain and nerve damage and that kind of stuff.
Well, I think, what I found out, because the first time this happened to me, like I didn't know, but it made, because I even had to go see a neurologist. Right. Like, because I didn't know what it was. And he, like, did all these tests on my nerves. But all your nerves, they basically cross over in your, like, across your,
Abdomen?
yeah, like your lower, I guess across the outside of your junk, you know.
Oh, okay.
Like, they all run through there,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
wherever it's going, you know. So, and if that gets pinched on, like, because mine was from a hernia operation. That's how I found.
yeah, right.
And I found that out off Google, and then that was just clarification. And he was like, "Have you had a hernia operation recently?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, yeah, chances are this is what it is."
Yeah, but you don't have the kind of head that like grabs one symptom and then turns it into something.
Oh no, I do.
Really?
But then I can also be very rational and like start asking other questions involved in the process, like how like exposure to things and you know what I mean. Like I'm like if I haven't been to somewhere that doesn't have Zika, I'm not going to convince myself I've got Zika.
Oh, but not even
just
that.
because I got,
Like, I'll freak out about, like, when I was overseas, I tried a fruit I'd never had before, and I was convinced I was going to die of anaphylactic shock because
really?
I had a tingling in my mouth, and then I realized I'd just used too much hand sanitizer and I'd put it in my mouth.
oh
And I
really?
was just getting a weird buzz. But, like, for a few seconds there, I was like, I am this is it. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to die because I ate a piece of fruit. Like, logic is gone at that point.
Okay, no, I don't. I'm pretty safe, especially with that kind of stuff.
Oh, no.
You know?
Nah, see, my head will always go to the automatic fucking, like, you know, if the phone rings after 9 o'clock, someone's dead. Like, that's the automatic fucking go-to in my head, you know what I mean?
Oh, look, don't get me wrong,
So if there's a pain, then it's obviously a symptom of something absolutely catastrophic. It can't just be, 10 years ago you hurt your shoulder and that's why now your arm's tingling. It's like, no, your fucking heart's about to explode.
Oh, look, don't get me wrong, I am Mr. Worst Case Scenario.
Yeah.
But, like, once I put things in Google and start joining dots myself.
Fuck that.
I actually can go, oh, hang on, well, this one makes the most. Like, I had this thing in my chest, right? It was another thing. And, like, it was basically again. And I looked at it and I was like, fuck, I've done nothing. I thought it was a muscular knot. And I was like, and it was like on the inside, like where a pec should be. Yeah. And I was like, that feels like a really intense knot, but like it was, and I just Googled the pain, and it was, man, it was I don't know if it's what ligament or what's the other one, not ligament, but
you had like
a tendon.
It was either a ligament or a tendon that was like ruptured or inflamed, and I thought, well, I haven't fucking done anything, so I looked into it more, and it's like called costochondritis or something, and it can be brought on by like intense
nothingness,
stress, like mental stress, and because of like that's where I was.
Like, so this is all at the same time. You had this.
Yeah, this was in Melbourne as well. Like this whole time.
But I think that's what it is. I think when you're stressed and anxious, like you don't even realize it, but you're so fucking clenched up. You're so kind of like brooding on yourself. Like my gut pain is never worse than when I'm in like an anxious spiral or something because I'm literally clenching my fucking stomach the whole time.
It's like I said before we started recording though, because of what I did to my body in a month, and like if it takes a month to do, and also my posture's always been shit, it's going to take me 3 months to undo.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing Pilates.
I love Pilates.
I know, I do too, and I said it to you beforehand. I like it too, but like the reality is, like I'm 38 years old, and I'm like 20 years the youngest person in that class.
You got to go to a different studio.
That reminds me. I went to when I was 15 years old and really fat. I went to Weight Watchers, and it was like the most mortifying. It was the most mortifying afternoon of my life because it was me and like 25, 50-year-old women, and I was like the 150. It was just so fucking.
Why? Oh, because the Weight Watchers, right?
Yeah, it's Weight Watchers.
Labeling people.
Yeah. I'm no ableist. Fuck, yeah. Whenever you're the other one out, and it's like seems like it's for older, kind of more or less capable people.
It's definitely because I'm going in the day though, like as opposed to the prime times. Like I'm sure if I went at like
if you went at night, there'd be a bunch of young.
Like I've done it. I did try yoga as well. But then I saw 2 people that I knew there, and like I was like, I don't exercise to chat. Like I don't want to chat.
So because you saw 2 people, you're like, I'm out for yoga.
Yeah, well, also like
I would do the same. I wouldn't go to a gym if I knew people at the gym.
I prefer Pilates because it's more technical, and like you might hold things like for longer or whatever, but it's more of a technical thing. It's more about strength. What I do like about yoga is the strength, the stretching, and the stability. But
you get all of that from Pilates as well.
No, but I just can't get into the spiritual stuff. Like I know people like yoga, but like I'm not. I can't even side.
Have you ever had a spiritual? Have you ever had? Because you're the last person I ever imagine having any kind of spiritual experience. Have you ever had any kind of like?
Like me saying, "What do you mean?" is going to be
yeah, No. Have you ever like? Because I've got friends like this. Where it's like I just went away to Tasmania and there was a lot of nature and stuff, and there was like, and I'm like a fucked up old hippie, granted.
Yes.
So I'd be standing in front of a tree, getting all weepy, like, oh god, it's so beautiful, and they were all like laughing, going, "You're a fucking idiot," and they couldn't understand how I could be standing there having spiritual experiences too much.
Yeah, that sounds a bit. Yeah.
You've never had that? Like,
no, well, that just sounds like you appreciate nature. Like, I can go somewhere nice and go, oh wow, this is nice, and like enjoy it, but I wouldn't call it spiritual.
So there isn't something in you that's like, oh my god, what is that? Like, I
want to dig into this more, but I want to get to the word as well, because this is going down the path of do you believe in anything? But that's such a huge conversation to unpack.
It's actually not really for me.
Because you don't?
You don't?
What do you mean? Believe in what?
Well, whatever you want. Do you believe
religion, afterlife, flat Earth.
The Sandy Hook was an inside job.
Oh right,
now anything.
No, look, I'm not religious. I think we're all just going to rot in the dirt or get burnt to a crisp, and like
I reckon on that note we go to that.
Yeah, go to the hat.
Because I feel like otherwise we're going to keep talking about getting crispy. All right.
What's wrong with... Well, come on, we're sitting in the dark. It's DJ. So I don't know what the vibe is of this old pod.
You're going to get
doing? What's happening
we
here?
should have explained that. We've got the hat, you pick a word, and from that word you can take it wherever you want. So whatever
I'm what, like, am I freestyling or like...
It's whatever the word evokes in you.
Yeah.
So just pull a word out.
sounds so... It's whatever feels.
Just feel through it.
And where did the word come from?
From us, and one word has been entered from Hamilton.
Our past guest, Justin Hamilton.
Like, oh, hang on, one fell out. Someone
Yeah, got that one. That's
Go for that.
What if it evokes nothing?
It's a sign.
Oh, no, it'll evoke something.
No, come on.
Passion.
Hello.
What is your passion?
What is my passion?
What is your life's passion?
Well, I guess life.
This is the most uncomfortable word possible for
Yeah, that's
towns.
what I was about to say.
Like any other word would have been more comfortable for
it's
you.
passion.
Why can't it be something like negative? Why didn't I get a dark one?
What do you mean?
Do you want to go again?
No, I don't want to go again.
We can go again.
No, because I'm passionate about heaps of things.
Oh, well then go.
Like I'm passionate about stand-up. I'm passionate about things I'm passionate about. I get passionate about tiny little things.
Yeah, like what?
Like, I don't know, if someone, like, man, you know, like if a bloody mobile phone service provider tries to rip me off and I know that legally I'm in the right fucking position. Like, I will, like, go toe-to-toe with them for as long as it takes. Like, I get passionate about things.
Do you see...
To a point where I would say, some people would say, oh, could you not?
Like you get too stuck on something.
Oh, I get it from my mum. Like, it's, like, I just had it with IONET. Like, I left it. Like, it was like I didn't have internet for, like, it worked out. It was almost 2 months. I didn't have internet. And, like, I say to all of them, I go, look, you put people on hold. I know you put people on hold. Just you leave them there for an hour because you know 99% of people
Yeah, of course.
don't have the time to see this through. And I go, I work for myself. Like, you can put me on hold. I will put it there on speakerphone, and I will be here when you take the phone.
I give myself slip discs doing nothing all day, motherfucker.
And I do this for the 99% of people that, like, I got a full cash refund on a TV that was 5 years old from Sharp. Because it was like broken, and like it went on for months, and then like it becomes a point, like, and everyone's right, and like, and I see it in my mum, and I'm like, Mum, it's not worth it, like it's just not worth it.
But you
and
get stuck into it.
In my head, like I know, like a lot of the time, it's not worth it. It's like it's
No, but it's the fucking principle. But it's the fucking principle.
They get me on principle, and it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
they get everyone, like everyone just rolls over, and lets themselves get, you know, like these big corporations or whoever it is, like just stick
Push
it to
them
them,
over.
and I'm like, what was? And in my head, I'm just like, I'm not letting go on principle. Like a girl got fired at Sharp because of this whole thing. Like, well, that was just part of the
because your 5-year-old TV wasn't working
that
anymore.
was part of the blowout, and that was because of, like, she played something very stupid. Like, she found my Facebook page and just started, like, writing all these just, like, homophobic...
What?
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it wasn't over nothing.
No, but
Why
like,
did she
rewind.
returning a TV to someone
Because this
finding
thing went on for months, right? And, like, if you're going to do this kind of thing, like, anyone would know that's spoken to any kind of customer service and if you're going to go and, like, try and prove your case on anything, you need names.
so you got her name.
I had everything from the time I dropped the TV off, of like names, email addresses, times of phone calls, like call logs and shit. So they could, like, there was no way they could dispute what had happened.
And so you pissed this one woman off.
Well, she was one of the main ones that I was dealing with that just kept fobbing me off and all that kind of stuff. And, like, and then you go, can I speak to a supervisor? And they make them, oh, there's no supervisor in the office.
Oh,
like,
my God.
and I'm like, so
You become the most cliched middle-aged Australian. And then I fucking asked to speak to the supervisor.
And they tell me there's no supervisor. I said,
Oh,
what?
I said to one of them, I said, so you're telling me, like, IONET said that to me. IONET said there's no supervisor, like, that's available. And I said, so you're telling me it's someone gets paid a 40-hour week there to not do any work. You're telling me the company, there's no one there doing that job.
Why didn't you go into law?
Why? You know, I've actually...
No, because he couldn't sit around all day getting himself slip discs and RSI.
I've actually thought that. You know how some comics
You
go
have
from
the persistence of no, they go from
law to comedy. Yeah, I've thought about
no comedian goes from stand up to being a barrister.
I've actually considered it. Like, and even when I
because you get stuck on the details. So
and it's but
pedantic.
everything's in the details.
I agree with that.
like, because like when I was a kid and my mum used to do that kind of stuff, and she always used to pull the "I'm a single mother" card, so it was like just mortifying, like to get out of paying like Video Easy fines and stuff. Like, I'm a single mother, and it's like that doesn't change the fact that you didn't return the fucking video for a year. But and I would always just be so fucking horrified. But the older I get, the more I slip into your mindset where I'm like, no, it's the fucking principle of the thing.
Yeah.
And even if it's $1, I'm going to fucking stand here and stomp my feet and carry on. Because it is that thing of like, you know...
Someone taking advantage.
Well, and it's like, do it 100 times a day and you've made an extra $100 a day. It's like, it's
Oh, man,
it's
and then
shit.
you look at how much money them... Yeah, look, all mine have always been moral things and principle. You know, like once I found out about the ACCC, whoa...
What is that?
Mate, like that is just like that's consumer protection for like.
Is that the ombudsman?
No, it's outside of the ombudsman. But basically, like, say you buy a fridge and they like or whatever. Like, how's this? I'll give you an example. Like, I bought a vacuum cleaner, right?
Oh God, yeah.
And no.
And then you got 5 people fired.
Daniel Towns, consumer watchdog.
12 people are fired. The shop's closed. It did not suck up shit.
I shot Godfrey in his own face.
Shot Godfrey.
I forgot we were doing a podcast and like cracking jokes and stuff.
Okay,
no, it's just right. I got to be funny too, as long as well.
No. I want to know what happened. You bought a vacuum cleaner.
No, like I was just going to make it as like describe it as simply as like I bought a vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah.
You're every cunt that I would have hated when I was working in retail.
This is low
I
end.
got a fucking vacuum to return.
No, it's not even about a return, mate. This is about shops fucking you, right? This is low end electronics, right? Like
Okay.
it's not a Dyson. It was just a couple of $100 with a bag in it, right? And I go in, just go, and like I felt bad for the guy because he's doing his big production. It was at a Godfrey's. He had a whole spectacle. You know, they pour the sand down. He shows you what they could do with the bowling ball, and it's like, mate, like seriously, I want one with a bag. I want that one. It's like middle of the range, price range. Yeah. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. Don't need anything. And like I broke the guy's heart that he couldn't do his big.
Well, because he gets commission. But yeah, so
That's
you
like you showing up to a gig and them going, nah, sorry, there's
Well,
no
I didn't know
audience.
that was part of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, dude, I know what I want. Just sell it to me. And then anyway, so I go to the counter and he goes, do you want the extended warranty? And I said, no. And he goes, what are you going to do if it breaks? And I said, I'll call the ACCC. And he smiled. And I said, yeah, you don't tell everyone that, do you? Like, so basically...
it's like, and then I fucked him.
But explain that to me. I don't understand why that's...
consumer warranties
break, yeah.
consumer warranties are bullshit on certain goods that cost like a certain amounts of money and that you would expect to last a certain amount of time. So like on a fridge, I don't know what the exact time frame is, right? But say you spend $10,000 on a fridge and Fisher and fucking whoever, Peichel or whatever, say the
That's
warranty on this.
That's an insane amount on a fridge.
What, I don't know. I'm thinking about successful comedians. Not us.
You've never bought a fridge.
No, yeah, I've never bought a fridge. I don't know what they
fridge once.
but whatever. You know, like whatever a fridge costs. And they go, all right, it's 2 years. Like that's the warranty we give you.
Yeah, and you're like, for $10,000, it should last 10, and then if it doesn't, you can
They all
call
sell you an
consumer
extended
watchdog.
warranty and go, hey, for an extra $500, we'll cover it for an extra 3 years. But that's bullshit because consumer rights mean that they have to stand, depending on what the product is, they have to stand by it for a certain amount of time. And
yeah, within reason. For as long as it should work.
And the more
this is true. Yeah.
Mate,
I didn't think when you pulled passion out of the hat that we'd get into an impassioned conversation about the clauses in consumer branding.
Because it drives me and the only company
I did.
and the only company, honestly, that I have come across that actually doesn't even tell you that's a thing, but just acts like they know it and they should be doing it is Apple.
Yeah, but that's because they've got fucking money pouring out of every hole.
So does every other country.
No, Apple is...
Come on, you mean like LG? They're all multi.
Yeah, they're all making a lot of money,
like
but Apple is making...
No, I know
insane amounts of money, and they just want brand loyalty. They don't care. They just like keep using Apple.
Are you guys terrified of Apple?
I'm not at all. I actually trust them. But I used Apple
terrified of any company? I don't know. Like,
I'm scared of Google.
I've been doing
I'll admit it. I've got a friend who won't even use Google.
It's
of course.
up.
It's terrifying. I've just been, I don't know, I've been like reading all this stuff about like digital...
why would your motto be "Don't be evil"? Like that's like, you know, in Arrested Development, you've seen.
Yeah, I love Arrested Development.
I think that started as like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like thing.
You know that thing in Arrested Development where they set up the rival banana stand and rival banana stand that won't give you this, like kind of implying that the other one does. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been reading so much stuff about just like digital data gathering and digital consciousness and all this stuff, and just this like idea that we're all putting all of our, You know, like someone put it really good the other day. They were like, you know, you're never more you than when you're on Google.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Man, you want to talk about
you're most honest when you're on a search engine, and it's like, yeah, but like they're gathering all this
Everything.
data on fucking
There's-
everyone.
of
It's just
course,
like,
yeah.
it's so terrible. I've got this fucking paranoia that one day like
use a
Disney is
VPN.
going to buy every entertainment
Use a
company.
VPN.
I use a VPN, but who the fuck knows if that fucking works?
well, then you get
You know what I mean?
It's
just
pretty
like,
creepy. There was
what,
this,
like, what if they've all got this fucking digital book on all of us and
They
everything
do.
we've ever done? Like, what happens when Disney buys every media corporation that invents an
No,
algorithm that
obviously, but
finds?
that's
Let me finish the sentence.
He's practiced it. Come on.
Sorry.
No, I
Go.
haven't. What was I saying? Disney.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, like when Disney owns everything, what happens if they figure out some kind of algorithm that like tracks down every torrent that everyone ever downloaded and then sends you the fucking bill?
Well, look-
all this shit that we haven't even thought of yet. It's
One,
just like,
that
it's
wouldn't happen
fucking
because they wouldn't be able to
terrifying
pay it.
me.
They'd probably make it like on a smaller scale. I
Yeah, and then fucking.
But there's, it should be terrifying. There was this lecture that came out where all this research showed they sent 3 people to Egypt. One was right wing, one was left, and one was moderate. And they got them to Google exactly the same thing on their devices. And the right wing guy, of course, had all this shit coming up that was like, to
what
his
the fuck does this have
preference.
to do with the ACCC?
Sorry. Go back. No, I'm so sorry. Let's go back to something actually important and what we're talking about. No. As you were saying,
I was just bringing the comedy
I'm so
back.
sorry. Ben, you fuckhead. I am a rude bitch.
No,
Continue with
I was
the
done.
vacuum cleaner.
Ben's walked away. I was actually glad. I was just sorry. I was just
Anyway,
injecting a
it's
joke.
fucked. It's just like this
Right.
paranoia. But there's all these creepy studies about how, when you think you're Googling the same, if we were to sit down and Google exactly the same thing, whatever came up would come up based on
There's like
our footprint, all that
there's
type of shit. Like, nothing
57
is-
different filter preferences that Google runs things
I
through
mean,
based
it's-
on your
So
of course.
I guess in short, am I scared of Apple? No.
No, but look, how do you think Facebook was worth so much money before they had advertising? But it's because of the information that.
Yeah, and that's what I worry about.
Have you tried deleting a Skype account?
Oh man, can you imagine all the
Like
footage that
now,
people have,
but-
like in some database of them wanking on over fucking Skype with their like lover on the other side of the world? Or
Yeah,
something?
but everyone would, so it wouldn't even be that exciting.
Getting back to passion.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what you have to do to delete a Skype account?
No,
What?
tell me.
Well,
'cause-
honestly, it might have changed now because of
Yeah, you don't want to badmouth Skype.
the most recent whatever the Facebook fuck up was that everyone recently they all upgraded
Cambridge
their privacy.
Analytica.
Yeah, you know how everyone was like, "Hey, new privacy thing," and then all of a sudden everyone was a bit more transparent.
Yeah.
and you had to be given an option to get out if you wanted to, and all that kind of stuff. Like Skype, there is nothing within the app or on the website to deactivate or delete your account.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I had 2 different Skype accounts, like a personal one and a comedy one, like one like work and one private, right?
Pleasure.
And I thought, oh, this is fine. no, like just like before. This is before Viber, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. Like when I was over in
Like
the
how
UK,
everyone talks about WhatsApp like it's the most trustworthy. Who the fuck knows?
I don't
But
use
anyway,
either of them.
yeah.
I
I
use
use
Facebook
WhatsApp
Messenger.
because it's encrypted and both.
Yeah, is
I
it?
use Facebook Messenger, but like at the time when I was in the UK, Skype was the only thing you could use
Yeah, to see your family.
and to stay in contact with Australia, you know. So like I had to use it, and I tried to. It's like I don't use this anymore. It's obsolete. I use Facebook or Twitter or Instagram
Whatever.
and whatever I'm on, wherever I see someone and I go, fuck, I got to talk to whoever.
Yeah.
You know.
But
And,
you basically you couldn't delete it.
you can't, and you have to. Long story short, I spent an hour on hold.
Trying to get it.
with like getting them to delete it. Like
I
and
know
then
where all your stress injuries come from.
Yeah, from
You
listening to
spend
hold music.
12 hours a day on hold.
I should make a playlist of my favourite hold music.
Just
It
like
can be your next festival show. Daniel Towns on hold.
just ready to scream at some bastard who's like, I don't know what happened.
Oh,
to
look, the
him."
reality is, like, if it wasn't such a tried and true, like, how pissed off people get dealing with the customer service people of these companies, like, man, the way I go at these people, like, I don't, like, it's not, I know it's not normal.
What do you like? But do you come at it like aggressive from the outset?
No,
Yeah,
no.
as long as you don't do that, because I've done phone work before, and those motherfuckers.
mate, I am
My
Mr.
mum's like that. She'll like make
Aggressive.
it, and when she finally gets through, the first thing she says is "right," like that.
No,
Like, oh,
I am
for fuck's sake,
I
like
am Mr. Long Game.
I think you get.
it's a long game.
Yeah, I know, because I know they're going to be difficult, because I know they've all got their, not even difficult, they've just got their company handbook of what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Like, even with, like, I had to pay extra data with Telstra, right, because the internet was down for 2 months. So to continue, it was a business internet account that I had with I can't believe I'm fucking back on this. Right.
I can't believe you're back on this either.
No,
We're
but
all learning something, but yeah.
I had to pay data, right? Like for Telstra. It's again the principle of the thing. And like they're still trying to. They wouldn't even credit me with the internet being down initially.
Did you notice the slow mental creep into middle age, or did it just suddenly, wake up?
No, you know what I reckon it is? You are what a lot of people would be if they had 12 hours at home, instead of at work.
But my mum was flat out, and she always found time for it.
Yeah, possibly. But I reckon the reason why many people...
That's a principle thing.
So many people just go, oh, fuck it, throw money at it or just let it be, is because the stress and time versus what they get out of it is not worth it for them if they're working full time.
Yeah, but
do you think to get a little bit deeper, because I know when I'm kind of stomping my feet, like I went into a restaurant one time and it was like salad $10. I was like, sick, I've got exactly $10. Had the salad, and when I went to pay, they were like, oh, that'll be $11.50. I was like, no, it said $10. And they're like, oh, there's a $1.50 surcharge for sitting down.
In Australia?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I fucking, and it was the principle of the thing, of the dollar, of the how many, you should have put it on the sign. It wasn't on the sign. That's outrageous. And you're going to make an extra $100 or $150 a day.
You don't have to actually pay it if it's not.
No, I didn't in the end, but I put on this massive production. But I wonder, am I putting on a production over the $1.50 and the principle, or is this just being used as a channel for all the other shit that I can't get in order? My life, for instance.
Of course it is.
Yeah. It is completely a way of taking control of something.
And not only, and also probably to a lesser extent, like getting out some rage in a way where like you're right, you might not be able to control it, but it's like maybe it's the fuck you want to say to someone else, but you can't. But
so that when you're spending fucking an hour on hold.
Well, look,
this isn't necessarily about the fucking thing that I'm ringing about.
It definitely is always about the principle of it for me. But I think there's definitely something in it. The problem is me. Like most people would just go, fuck it, it's not worth it. I don't do it over anything. Like it's always things with a principle. Yeah. Like if it's like, nah, because I just think, fuck, you do this to everyone.
Oh, I'm like a dog with a bone with stuff like that, but it has to be personal. Like... And I like this dude screwed over my mum, and it took every fiber of my being not to show up at their house and it's been, and now I can email this person because the issue is dealt with, and I've been fantasizing about this email and what I'm gonna write. And this has been going on for months. So this kind of stuff, I can understand the clinging on to something, but it has to be something that is emotionally affecting me. If it's financial, I don't care so much.
See, I'm actually the opposite, right? If it's
emotional, you don't care?
No, if it's emotional, I do care, but I handle it in a completely different way.
Like in a cut-off, cold way?
No. I would say the complete opposite, because I can't even talk about this, because I guarantee you, I'll say something that...
No,
I'll tell, I don't want to be the, because this will lead me to say something that could end me up in trouble. But basically someone tried
What the fuck has he done?
Yeah, man.
Someone just tried fucking someone over very close to me. What I'm saying is I'm not going to be able to talk about this without saying something that's either
legal
slanderous or...
Yeah, right.
So, it's too close. It's too soon. But someone just tried fucking someone over very close to me.
Really?
And when it is like if it's me, I can... I do, but I...
Without talking about that specific situation, how do you feel about a situation if similar to me, where someone's trying to be a dick to your mum? Because that's essentially what happened. Someone tried to be manipulative and be a total fuckhead to my mother.
Well, then you can't let those people... they're the ones I never let see that I have. You know what I mean? Because that's what they want to see. Like a corporation and its money, they expect you to get mad. So fuck it. But if once it becomes emotional, that's when you got to play smarter, I think.
I've been very in control of it.
I'm talking, I think if you can, you've also almost, you got to take the higher ground. And when I say the higher ground, I'm talking full scale psychological warfare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
There's long term and there's short term.
I want you to, because I do know what you mean, psychological warfare, and I enjoy doing that to people that I feel have wronged me or wronged people. But
you get so off on it.
I don't even want this even that, it makes it sound like it's some kind an abusive thing. I don't
No, but it's like not letting people get away with their fucking bullshit.
Yeah, and I think the best way to deal with that is...
And calling them on, whatever fuck up they made.
And also, the more someone tries to, like, if that happens to me on a personal level, the more I actually enjoy it, because they're just exposing their hands. Like, animals attack when they're scared, right? Yeah. So if someone's doing something like that, like, they're threatened. There's a reason that behaviour has come out.
Has hurt someone that
in
you
the
care
first,
about.
Yeah, in the first place. So that's the reason behind it. So you look at it from what's there, like why, and once you start thinking about that, and you can like psychologically figure out where they're coming from, like it just makes it so, because you just laugh, like I just smile at things, like it just like I deal with, like I chat with these people. If someone did something like that to me, I'd be chatting to them. Like I'm chatting with you guys now, like amicably, like a mate. Like there'd be little subtle things.
No, I'm not like that.
There'd be subtle things when the conversation was over and we were leaving, where they'd be like, "What did that mean that, or did that mean that? Like, which way was that meant to be?"
See, I'm the complete.
Yeah, so you
opposite.
play mental games with them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like
long game. You're a long game guy.
Yeah, like it's all.
But what is the hope of it? What do you hope to achieve out of that?
Because there's nothing to be gained from just getting no one.
I totally disagree.
I disagree.
It feels fucking
no,
awesome.
it feels great.
I'm going to send this guy
awesome.
an email to let him know exactly what I think of him, and I cannot wait.
Yeah,
of course,
Like I am
awesome.
so excited.
But of course, it's going to feel awesome. But all that's going to happen is you're going to get another email back, an angry one or whatever.
No, he's a pussy. He'll never reply to me.
Don't you feel that there's a way of calling? Don't you feel like there's a way of calling someone on their shitty behaviour without it necessarily turning into a shit slinging match?
It's so hard because it's so case by case. Don't you think?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, if you approach it with like full blown fucking aggression and all that, but like what you just described, this idea of like chatting amicably with someone if I have the shits with someone, I literally cannot even look at them.
Well, I'm saying that
I can't even. Don't come near me. Don't.
I think it's case by case. Like the example I just gave, I'm talking like, there's an end game. I suppose the first question is, what's your end game in this? Like,
what are you asking me specifically?
Anyone that's considering approaching any kind of situation with anything other than rage, or even rage, like first you got to ask yourself, what do I want out of this?
To feel good.
Yeah.
No, of course.
And
justice.
That is literally it.
All right.
And also, like for me, it's like a big thing, like not to get too wanky and go back to passion, but there is a real passion for this idea of, I hate it when someone, like there's an unspoken social contract, right?
We are
like
killing when this podcast, by the way.
Huh?
What do you mean?
I feel like we are crushing this. No, like we really let's keep. Yeah, this is good.
There's like an unspoken social contract, right? Like that you don't talk too loud in the cinema.
Larry David, totally agree.
You don't push in when you're in a queue. Like all these kind of things.
No.
And the thing is, when something like that happens, 9 out of 10 people seem to fall silent because, for whatever, fear of conflict, for fear of not saying, don't say anything, you don't want to cause a scene. For me, it's like, no, they are the ones that have betrayed the social contract. So it's incumbent on everyone else to go, hey, fuck, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I do.
Don't push in, so that's what
Shame
I mean.
them.
Like
that's why I like Japan.
And if I can't,
shame away.
Public shaming. But that's what I mean. So I can't do that psychological warfare of like pretending to be amicable with someone. If I've seen like someone's true shitty nature, I can't look at them other than to offload on them and tell them what I see that they really are.
It's hard to.
Look, my anger would come out with people I trust. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like it's like it's not like it's not there.
Do you trust a lot of people?
What's that?
Do you trust a lot of people?
What are you talking about in life or in what?
Yeah, like as in, do you have a lot of close friends?
Yeah, like I've still got
my
best mates from school.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I'm very good friends with like ex-girlfriends. Like
So people you care about, you keep very close. You have like a big pool.
Yeah, of course. No, not look, I wouldn't say a massive pool, but like my good friends have been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm very loyal to
And the
them.
older you get, that becomes increasingly important, I'm realizing.
Yeah.
Like having moved through a chunk of time with someone is like important.
And like with exes and stuff, I just like it's always hard in the beginning, but I always feel this is, especially like this is someone I was very close with for a long time. Like we obviously cared. Like it doesn't have to be
horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Like sometimes you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? Like you want to go down the other side. Like sometimes it just does get weird, or not even weird, but like
shitty or whatever.
Yeah, and you can't. But if you're both adults, like there's no reason. Like I got one of my exes lives in Melbourne. She just got married, and like it's so good. You know what I mean? Like I met up with them during the festival. We went out to dinner. That was the 1 hour I got off the couch and actually did something.
Stretched your back.
But hang on, what were we talking about? Because you got up and went. It was still on passion. It was still on.
No, we can talk about this. Because you were talking about being defensive of people that you care about, and I was trying to see how big that pool is. Like I feel like I have a small pool of people that I love, that I hang out with, that I've been friends with for a long time, a short time, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be an old friend who I'm very defensive of. Like in a passionate way. So I was trying to see how many.
Oh, look, it's like I think everyone knows they've only got a handful of like great, true
mates.
I can knock on your door at 2 a.m. and this is going to be okay.
You
know what I mean? Like you'll take me in for a week, worst case scenario. Like if your whole life fell apart. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like those kind of options. I think everyone's extended circle is bigger than that.
Yeah,
it's like you've got your fucking like cloud of electrons around you that are very close, like the inner core, and then there's other kind of levels out from that, like acquaintances and buddies and
there's
pals and stuff.
There's, I guess best friends, like old friends, best friends, close friends, good friends, great friends, work friends. Like,
do you think it's kind of weird though, because like friendships is like, there's like an arc to the relationship of a long-term friendship as there is to any kind of like romantic relationship.
Of course, yeah.
But that it feels like that's not, I don't know, I've never really heard that talked about or anything, like the kind of, like what it takes to stay friends with someone over the long term. And it's almost like you've got to kind of like be growing in parallel lines with each other, because if there's too much divergence, the friendship kind of fades off.
Well, it's definitely values, like things you believe in, especially as you get older. And I think especially in this political climate, like I lost a friend during the plebiscite.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like it was just like it had been coming for a long time. Yeah. And it was someone who like had probably be like, it wasn't even like someone I saw regular anymore. It was a friend from school. And then it became someone I saw through, you know what I mean?
And they really supported gay marriage, and of course you don't. So.
Yeah. Obviously, that's the way it played out. But like it was just like it just became a thing, and I just couldn't help myself, and I started commenting on Facebook on a couple of posts here and there, and then and then it just went, here we go.
And
it's just like, all right, and I just couldn't,
It feels like
it's a shame, because it feels like you can't be close to people that you disagree with anymore.
No, like I just think like as you get older, and I think rightly so, like everyone's like just more aware of like different kinds of people now. Like it's not black and white or this or that, or like a friend in the UK, a comic, like great comic, like this is even irrelevant, but he just put up a post and it was a picture from a pub in the UK, and it was like, basically no anything with an ism or an obia in it. Like that was a sign outside the venue, and he just put it up as an opinion thing. Like, what's everyone's take on this? Like he's extremely open-minded.
Yeah.
Like, but he goes, I don't think I'd want to go in a kind of place like this because of what it would.
Because it means
I don't understand.
There was a sign out the front of the pub, right?
Yeah,
saying,
and it just
like,
basically said like no racism, no this, no.
But
his thing was that, and like he's extremely open-minded.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah,
none
yeah,
of these
yeah.
things, but he goes, whose decision is it to make?
Well, who's the arbiter? Who's the person
exactly.
that decides?
And that was his whole point of it.
I mean, because on the far extremes of it, there's just crazy stories of people getting in. Like that guy that I can't remember. I think it's the UK that got sued for under the Racial Discrimination Act for teaching his pug how to Heil Hitler.
Oh yeah.
Like put his paw in the air, to Heil Hitler, and he's been charged as like by the law as a racist. It's like, oh, for fuck, like come on, that's not the same as being a full-blown fucking racist.
It's pretty psychotic.
What do you think?
To teach your dog how to
that is.
Heil
I think it's
Hitler.
just a dark, and I think it's just a dark, fucked up joke. I don't think there's anything.
Do you know how long it would take to teach your dog to Heil Hitler?
I'm the only Jew here, and I'm not offended by it.
Yeah, but my
so
grandfather was
it's
in a
like-
concentration
No,
camp.
but it's
and
just
I am
like
offended
It is an
by
effort
it.
thing.
You're offended by it, really?
Well, no, not
and he should be
offended,
charged by
but
law.
I'm offended
He should
that you
he should go to court because he taught his dog
I'm offended
to
that
Heil
you think
Hitler.
it's not racist.
I don't
That's
think
the
it's
only
racist.
thing
I think it's
take
just-
umbrage
I
with.
think-
Of course it's fucking racist.
It doesn't. No, it's not. How?
If you
is it
taught
racist?
a kid to say Heil Hitler, it's a
But it's not.
racist
But it's not.
fucking
But
thing.
it's not a kid. It's a dumb hug that has no concept
Yeah,
of
but he's
what
still
it's doing.
repeating it and teaching it.
I
And
guess
like the
Jen's point
intention
like,
is still.
he knows what he's showing. The dog doesn't know.
Yeah, the
but,
dog's
like,
a fucking dog.
But you don't know what the intent behind the joke was. It could just be a dark joke between friends.
It
of
is the
like,
stupidest man in the world.
No, it's
if he's
not.
not racist, and he's like,
every
look
single
at
one
this
of us.
clever thing I taught my dog.
Every single one of us have had jokes between ourselves as friends that are dark
Yes,
and
that's
fucked
exactly.
I've said things I regret on stage.
That if they were broadcast
All
on the
the
internet
time.
would completely misrepresent the people that we are, correct?
all the time.
When
I
we're-
would still not spend fucking 6 months teaching a dog.
It wouldn't take 6 months
how
to teach a
Heil
dog how to
Hitler.
hit.
Probably
Hitler.
would.
It would take a long
really
time.
wouldn't.
They don't lift
I
their
train
arm
dogs
like
as well,
that.
so it wouldn't take that long. But
It's
it could just be a
ridiculous.
dark.
All right, would you? All right.
But
well,
no, but you still didn't answer the question. Should
What
it
would
be
you-
fucking prosecuted by law? Should he go? Should he be
No,
faced
the
with
issue
legal
that I took-
problems?
No. The thing I took issue with was that you said it wasn't racist.
I don't think it's necessarily
It's
racist.
completely racist. It's stupid to say it's
For a
not
dog
racist.
to Heil Hitler, I don't think
It's
it's.
totally racist.
no, I think
It's
it comes back.
not.
I think it comes back to the owner.
It
not
comes
the
back to
dog.
intent. It comes to intent, and we
And
don't know
what
the
was
intent
this
of the
guy's
person's.
Oh, look,
background?
I think he's a
Man,
comic. I think he's a comic.
He's the stupidest comic.
No.
It depends. I guess. Look, it's like
Know
I'm
your
not even
audience.
going to say it depends what the payoff is, but like something like that. Like it's pretty. It's like that. There was some comic in the States that set up some. And I think he got punched in the face when it happened. But he set up some table inside somewhere that says male privilege doesn't exist. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Or something, and like it all blew up. Like it's just.
I think it's the whole thing of like
Man,
comics
like,
are
no
like
one-
know the room. Like, you know how
Yeah.
you're saying there's heaps of shit we've all said that we've got.
Yeah.
There is. And then there's heaps of times you've said exactly the same stuff in a room where it's killed because you've known
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
audience.
Oh no!
So
As far as
your
I'm concerned, the dumbest
crowd-
thing he did was not teaching the dog how to Heil Hitler. It was uploading it onto YouTube, where he was obviously going to be fucking because there
of
is no
course.
idea
Yeah,
of what
yeah,
the intent or content of that act was.
Who did he think the audience was going to be? Who's Googling
Well, also not everyone.
German
There has been.
Heil
Man,
Hitler?
okay, there's a great show called Wundershausen, right? Do you know
Did the
Wundershausen?
Breitbart News run it? Like what kind of websites are running with it?
I don't know. I think he just put it on
Like,
his
is it-
YouTube
is it
channel
on
and it all
Funny
blew
or
out of
Die,
control.
or is it on-
I wish Sean was in the room because we could ask him to look it up. But there
Okay.
was a whole story behind it. And the guy has come out and said, you know, that he's not a racist, whatever, da-da-da-da. I'm saying that taken out of context, it's not necessarily... Like, have you seen do you know Wundershausen?
No.
It's a great show from the early 2000s. It's
Oh,
fucking
maybe, I can't
brilliant. Where it's basically a satirized version of Sesame Street, but it's all with a kid cast and puppets and stuff, but it's very, very dark. And there's a sequence called Beat Kids where kids go out and interview people in the streets. And there's a whole section with Lil Hitler, this kid dressed in a Hitler uniform with the moustache and the swastika armband, asking people about racism and all this kind of stuff on the streets. If you see it out of context,
Oh, yeah.
it's fucking horrifying. Within the context of the show, they're making
It's
a wider
funny.
point,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Oh,
it's
it'd be
funny.
like that's just like South Park.
Exactly.
I guess it's just-
As soon as you said Little Hitler, I went, "Oh fuck South Park." That's
Exactly.
what they're
Yeah,
best
yeah.
at.
So
You
it's
watched
like,
any of that
you know,
out of context.
so is Wundershausen racist because they dressed a kid like Hitler?
No, it's hard. Put it this way: it's hard for me to imagine a dude teaching their dog how to Heil Hitler repeatedly without having some pretty fucked up stuff going on in their head.
I don't. I think you
You
can have
fostered
I can-
dogs? Have you ever been like, oh,
Okay,
dude,
would
No,
you-
turn
but I have,
them out? Like, it doesn't
but I have a
fucking-
very dark sense of humor, and
exactly, and that still never occurred to you.
well, no, but
Like,
there's-
it's a fucking
jokes,
weird
but
thing.
jokes have occurred to me that other people would say that that is fucking depraved.
I think
You know,
I
I've
don't- do I
gotten
think
on
it should
stage and
be-
talked for 15 minutes about fucking hemorrhoidal bleeds out of my asshole. Most people would say that's fucked and you shouldn't do that.
No, it's not the same
It's
as
just gone too
racist.
far.
Anyway, anywho,
Look,
I don't think you should have been arrested, but it's a fucking stupid thing to do.
See, it's a hard one, like because as a person, like what I'd say on all of this, I think most people have something that drives them, and the feedback that came back from the feedback that came back from this post on Facebook was
the no isms post.
Yeah, like what you could figure out, like because it got like there was a lot of engagement, like a lot of comments,
Oh, I
and
bet.
and it was very clear that the people that it was the people that had the most. I can't even remember the phrase that was used, but the people that it affected most were more supportive of it. You know what I mean? And if anyone was
we're more supportive of having it there.
yeah, like and saying like, no, this is a good thing. Like you've never, like some people have never felt those things, so it's a good thing. And I commented and I said, I don't even think the problem's the sign. I think it's that we live in a society where people think a sign is, you know
Gonna
what I mean?
fix it.
No, or even like
The sign's
we're at
needed.
a point. Yeah, we're at a point where we have to say, fucking, can you not
Be
Yeah, yeah,
sexist
yeah,
and
yeah.
treat other
racist
people like
and-
shit?
Yeah,
like I said, that I think, but basically it came down to like, so everyone's driven by something. Everyone has something that guides them, whether it's like fucking, no, you know what I mean? Whether it's,
No, I was just laughing because I was thinking of the Hitler dog.
like whether it's
See, it's funny. You're laughing now.
Yeah, I'm funny. It is funny laughing at the fact that that's what's driving him. Like, it's like I have nothing to do all day.
Is there another cider?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Whether-
And you should say thanks, Young Henrys.
Thanks, Young Henrys.
Because they're sponsoring us.
No, but like whether it's you know, like, I mean, you see it in comedy, you see it in any industry. Like some people are driven by some things, some people are driven by others, right? Like so some people are driven. So you'd say, okay, some people are driven by
Lust for fame.
no. Look, take it out of comedy. Some people are driven by morality, right? You know what I mean? So like what's important to them is like they want to see the right thing get done. Like some people are driven by money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I think at the core of all these fucking issues of everything, like it's still what's driving. It's like police. Like the first thing they look at is what is this person's motivation. So anything that comes down to, I think, on any issue, is motivation is the first.
Do you think most people are?
I don't even know if that made sense.
No, it did make
No.
sense.
Do you think most
made
people
sense.
are actually aware of what their true motivation is?
I think it takes an extreme amount of self-awareness to come to that kind of conclusion about something, because I've always questioned my motive sometimes when I'm doing things, because I'll say, all right, what do I gain if it goes this way?
Right.
You know, like, so I do ask myself those questions, but it's a hard question to ask yourself, because you can always come up with a couple of reasons why, even if you go, this is for the right reason,
Yeah.
you could potentially benefit. And then you go, well, which one am I doing it for? Because it's right now, or because I get my $500 back? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a hard, like I don't know. Self-awareness is, how many people do you know that are actually self-aware? Like
Very few.
I don't think anyone is like a thousand. Like that's not even a figure, but
Yeah,
100%. Like we're all deluded somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
You know, there's some level.
But like, well, true self-awareness is having to reckon with a lot of ugly, painful shit and having to assimilate it. I think the thing that I think the problem I had a lot of when I was younger, and I think is the problem with a lot of people, is that, you know, the inside of any given head is like a cacophony of voices and weird disparate thoughts, and, you know, like our brains are like sponges that are soaking in every experience we've ever had and everything we've ever read or seen or conversed on and on. So there's a lot of shit in there. And with, you know, and everyone has like dark sides to their personality and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like to be truly self-aware, you have to reckon with all that kind of yucky stuff. Rather than shutting it out. And I think it's the shutting it out that makes it louder or more toxic or something, but the facing down of it is kind of assimilating it. And
I mean, like I hate talking about comedy but I guess it's what we know. But like in my show this year, like I had a joke and it took me so long to get comfortable saying it. And I'm not even saying it. I'm just saying what someone else said. Like it's a slur, right? But I didn't say it.
What's the context? Do you mind telling us?
Yeah, no, sure. I'll tell you the joke. Like I was you go on a cruise ship, right? A lot of the crew are Asian. Like most of the people, a lot of the people that work on them are from different parts of Asia.
Yeah.
And most of the guests are white, right? And like I did a gig on one of them. I was walking out Royal Caribbean. Oh fuck, I better not, because I'll say something else that I might get into. Anyway, that's enough.
And you had a great time.
Fantastic. Anyway.
Someone
walking
on the boat.
walking outside, like late at night, like 1, 2 in the morning, right? And just as I got within earshot, there was a family there, like small kids, 4 or 5-year-old kids. Just as I got within earshot, I heard a drunk just go, "Oh yeah, well that's what the Ching Chong Chinaman in Science said." And I was like, "Holy shit!" Right?
Yeah.
Whoa! Like I haven't heard that kind of language since, you know. And then like one of the other people in the group goes, "Oh no, you can't say that anymore." And I was like,
Thank
no.
God.
And I was like, "Oh, thank God." And they went, "Yeah, now you got to say Ching Chong China person." Like it's got to be gender neutral. And in my head, I was
But they were
like,
making a joke.
but I don't know.
were they making
But
a joke, or
I
did they
still
think they
don't
were being
know.
progressive?
Like I still don't know. Like in my head, I was like, okay, is this a person? Like they clearly know enough to know about like gender neutrality.
But not about.
So like it actually,
Wow.
like my head like kind of exploded, and I thought that's really funny, but I ran it past like so many comics, and it was like Ray said it to me, like Badger, and he goes, "Man," like he goes, "You're over," like he said, "You know, you just obviously make it clear that it wasn't you that said it."
Yeah.
And like
Well, yeah, if people spend time with you, they know you're not the type of guy who's going to be yelling that shit out.
Where his thing was. He goes, I think you're overthinking it because you're a good person and you know you're a good person. And going back to what you were just saying, like, most of us think we're good people. Like, you know, like when it comes to self-awareness, like like you were saying it before about things you've said or things like, and you think about all the, like, if any time you've, like, done something where you'd benefit or, like, maybe mildly screwed someone over, like, if you ever weighed those up against all the times you maybe, like, bought your mum some flowers or did a favour for a friend.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
actually saw where it, like, considered where
Of course.
And
to see if you're a good or bad person.
I think it's very easy to convince yourself you're a good person when you're the one making the decision, like in your head, like when it comes to self-awareness. Maybe people with some mental problem,
No, I think
illness.
there you go.
Like depression, maybe they're going, oh, okay, I'm a bit of a, but you know, like.
I'm always ultra aware of what I'm contributing to a situation. So if I'm feeling really, not like depressed in the medical sense, but just like bummed out and just fucking negative.
Yeah.
And if I'm around people and they're like, what's happening? I'm so ultra aware that if I say what's actually happening and how I actually feel, I'm going to just be a shit thing in their night if they're like out drinking and having fun. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm very aware of what I'm contributing. Like, I mean, like even with Ben, if we're talking and he'll be like, oh, you're in a fucked mood, or I'll be like, oh, I don't want to talk to you about this because it's going to bum me out. Like that awareness that you carry. Does that make sense?
I think that, yeah. No, totally.
So I'm ultra aware of that. I don't know if I tally, like, in the sense where I'm like,
I don't think anyone's ever tallied it.
No,
That's what I mean.
But even on a daily basis.
I think if you're an intelligent, moderately self-aware person and you're honest with yourself, that's the key. It's the being honest with yourself. I think you are able to look at the span of your life and know whether you've contributed more positivity or negativity into the world.
Yeah, if you're mostly good.
I'm talking if you're actually honest with yourself. And you know, like when I look back at my life, there's like, I've yelled and screamed at people and I've clomped around, you know, but there's nothing in my life where I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that is some awful fucking event that I need to bury under 10 layers of subconscious fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like I think having a healthy self-loathing or within the self-awareness almost keeps you in check. Because it's like you know how much you'll hate yourself if you do something truly awful. So it stops you, if you're inclined to, be too much of a cunt.
I actually tried, like, intentionally this year at the comedy festival, and fuck, this is going to sound like the wankiest thing. I don't even want to. Anyway, let's talk about it.
Just say
it.
No,
we
because
can move on afterwards.
Because the core of my show this year, like, the first half of it was it was all on things that are happening, right? So, like, the plebiscite just happened, like, around the time I was writing it. Pick an issue, right? So, basically, race, class, feminism. Right. All that kind of stuff, right? That was the first half of the show. But I said to myself, I'm not going to be one of the people that just gets up there and preaches one point of view. Everyone's done or said something fucked up at some point in their life. Like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to throw myself under the bus for the second half of the show.
Right.
Like, because I just wanted it to be balanced. And I got to say, that was the most fun half. But I racked my brains. And, like...
trying to think of things that you'd done in the past.
That was so fucked up that, like, there was nothing that was, like, apart from maybe saying something, like, there was, like, very harsh and very scathing. Don't get me wrong, but, like, there was never anything, and I'm glad, but, like, show-wise, it was like I dug as deep as I could go.
No, but that's, wasn't that cathartic, and wasn't that, like...
No, of course it was. But
it was like a challenge for him.
No, it was. Don't get me wrong, it definitely was. But then at the same time, there was also a big part of me that was like...
I wish I was a worse person.
No, not even I wish I was a worse person. It was
material.
like, fuck, I have committed this whole thing to an angle where, like...
that you can't fulfill.
No, I still could do it. But, like, all the examples, like, and I don't care that they weren't as heavy because they just got to become fun. And they made, like, a lot of them were me being petty. Like you said before about we all get pissed off when someone pushes in front of you in a line. I've taken someone's shoe off on purpose because they cut in front of me in a line. Like,
how?
Like, because we're in line at an airport and I was just scrolling on my phone, right? And as soon as the line started moving, I just, like, stepped on the back of his shoe. Like, it's happened to me. Like, it's happened to every guy. Someone treads on the back of your shoe and it comes off. It probably happens to women too.
And so you tread on his
I did it
shoe.
intentionally, yeah. And as soon as he turned around, like I was just like, oh, sorry, man, I'm really clumsy. Like, you're already bunched up and it's like, yeah.
Daniel Town's greatest sin.
But you know what I mean? Like, these are the kind of things I could come up with. It's like, fuck, everything I do is petty and it's always because someone screwed me over first. It's always, like, I don't just pick out.
I don't have to stretch my brain that far to think of some stuff that's not great that I've done. I don't have
But
to
it's
be
never
like-
like...
But have you ever, all right, but have you ever done something, like, would you honestly say that you've ever done something that has, like physically or, like, long-term impaired another person?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Like, I'm not talking relationship breakups. I mean, like...
Yeah, like malicious...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, the inevitability of relationships and stuff is that it's two people that don't know what they're doing, so you're going to hurt each other.
Yeah, I've
especially
never, like...
So there's the hurt within a relationship, and I'm not talking, obviously, about, domestic or psychological violence. I'm just talking about two humans being in each other's orbit and heartbreak and stuff. There's that kind of stuff.
No, I've never, deliberately...
you've never, drawn up blueprints to destroy someone's life.
I've felt heaps of guilt all the time for everything, but that might just be growing up Catholic.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I guess if I actually think about a lot of stuff, it's probably not that bad. Like, I've never maliciously been
don't you
like,
think
I'm
that-
going to hurt that person.
Don't you think that...
I don't have that in me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you
Yeah.
think that
feel-
guilt is almost like... it's not to say, we'd be like these rampant psychopaths if that guilt wasn't there, but the guilt is a good check. Like, I don't necessarily...
It serves a purpose.
I don't believe in karma.
But see, guilt serves a purpose for people that guilt probably doesn't need to serve
Absolutely
a
right.
purpose
It's the people
for,
that
because
I
they've
feel
got
it's
a
the people
moral
that
should
compass.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
the people that should feel guilt that
Like
feel no guilt. Absolutely.
sociopaths, and like that's what I used. Like when I said that in the I'm not going to do a bit, but I say everyone thinks they're a good person. Like, and pedophiles don't think they're doing anything wrong.
They
And
have to be.
No. Like, look into the
Some would have
psychology
to.
of it though. Like, it's like the majority think the behavior is like they don't.
No, but some do. Some check themselves into chemical castration.
of course. There was that young kid that did the podcast talking about it as well. But that's also because they're open to society's, like what society's saying about it. But like
But I know what you're
a lot of
saying.
them don't even realize that it's not right.
Which
No. I think it's only true clinical psychopaths that are comfortable with not being good people and being aware of that and not having an issue with that.
I think there's
But
a lot more psychopaths than we realize.
Well, among 7 billion people, yeah, there's going to be.
Well, why do you
literally
think I've
millions
only
of
got like a handful of friends? Like you could, I don't know, like reading people. It's like Ben, like and yourself. But like we can go. How long have we known each other?
Ages, I don't know.
But
I've
like,
known you since 2005.
but then,
That's
like,
fucking
10 years or
crazy.
something.
But then realistically, when was the last time we saw each other? Like, but like every time we come together,
Yeah.
it's like you were talking before about being negative. Like if you were negative to me,
Yeah,
like-
but it's different because I know you.
exactly.
I wouldn't if I was talking to you, I wouldn't feel like I was bumming you out. I'd just be like, "How you going? This happened."
yeah, exactly. And that's how and I think you've definitely got to have people where you can have
But
that.
I probably would feel guilty later.
No, I wouldn't want you
Like,
to.
I'd
I'd
be like, "Oh, I haven't seen him in ages," and then I was a dick. I was just talking about
No,
me
no
being
way.
shitty. Like
I'd be
I feel
like-
bad about that.
Your guilt, like, does that lead? Like, do you like when you feel guilty about something?
I think it's
like,
from my mother.
How does that manifest though? Do you feel like?
I feel bad.
But do you feel like that you deserve some kind of comeuppance? Or
No. Put it this way: you messaged me earlier about a mic,
Mm.
and I couldn't find it, and then I remembered that Ben had it, and then I messaged Ben going, "I think you have it," and then I felt really bad because I was like, "Oh my god, if he doesn't have it, I'm the worst person in the world." Because
a shit message.
yeah, I know, but I would feel
No,
bad
I
about
know,
that.
I know.
Like I'm just using it as a shitty example of
But
like,
it's a weird, yeah.
or like if my partner and I have a fight. The next day, and everything's okay, and he'll be like, "Hey, I love you," and I'll be like, "Oh, I love you too," and we'll like hug, and everything's fine. I will be like, "Oh, I want to give him something because I feel so bad because I'm such a shit person." Like, I'll be like, "I'm gonna buy," and he'll be like, "Don't do that, it's weird," and I'll be like, "No, but I feel really bad," and he's like, "But I had an argument too," or with my sisters even, like it's
Because I
just-
feel like it serves.
all the
I
time.
feel like it's. I've been thinking about guilt and all that kind of stuff, and like, I think it does serve a purpose in some sense in keeping you in check of not being a fucking asshole. But it does also become like this self.
It's, like, debilitating.
Yes, it becomes debilitating.
Or it becomes an apology after you're an asshole.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
Like sometimes guilt will make you go like, oh, yeah, like, oh, hang on, like that was a bit of a.
You believe in karma?
I think things balance.
I wouldn't say like karma is a concept, but I think things. I think people get what's karma to them.
I think so too.
I don't believe in universal karma. Like the universal scales. I believe in individual karma where if you feel as though you have done something wrong, you will somehow self-sabotage going forward to fuck yourself up.
So, but that's
on an equal measure. But I think if you're I think if you're like, you know, Heinrich Himmler or someone, you know, and killed millions of people in the war and then escaped to Argentina and lived till you were 98, you know, everyone's like, you know, oh, he never got a comeuppance. Well, first of all, you don't know.
So you believe that Argentina?
What?
Like,
well, some of them absolutely
the Nazis
did.
In the
I don't believe Hitler fucking faked his suicide and fled to Argentina. But a lot of the high level, well, that's a fact. They all went to South America.
But so you believe?
But I believe if he didn't feel any guilt over what he did,
there would be no karma.
There is no karma.
Oh, look, there definitely becomes a level though. Like there definitely becomes a level where things there's other factors.
Like what?
Like influence, money, like. Well, this is
I like to have faith in truth in the sense that I believe that truth usually comes out. Like if someone is like a sour, horrible person, I believe I like to have faith that will come out in the sense that how they will live their life will not be
of course.
Pleasant one surrounded by people who are loved and kind. But then you just said that you know, some people live to the right old age.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And you watch enough documentaries where you're like, oh, that prick died of natural causes.
Trump will live till he's 99.
Yeah,
but is that because he can afford to, or because I don't know?
No, but if you're talking about like karma or
but he's hated though. Like, not that justifies it.
I honestly can't believe he hasn't been taken out yet.
Oh, I can. He's got the. If
he was left wing, he would have.
Nah,
like if he was.
Well, he's going for the guys with the guns. So they love him. They don't.
If anyone was going to get taken out, it would have been Obama by some nut. I think the Secret Service is pretty fucking good after. You know, because everyone talks about Kennedy, but it was also Reagan and Ford and like a couple of them that took hits.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
They've nailed their job by now.
Oh, it's definitely.
Yeah. Well, so karma. I don't believe in karma. I believe in truth, and I think it usually comes out with people in the sense that you meet someone. Because I'm really gullible, so I'll meet people and I'll be like, oh, she's so sweet. And then I'll tell you and you're like, that person's a asshole.
Yeah.
And later I'll be like, oh, it turns out you were right, they were an asshole. Like, and so sometimes
I'm usually right. Whenever I've deemed someone an asshole, it turns out
I'm so gullible.
I like to think I'm a good judge of character too, but also
does it piss you off when someone gets you under your radar where you think someone's a cool person and then they turn out to be a cunt?
Honestly, I couldn't even mention that many times when it's happened.
Oh man,
I will say I also know this, and I know you will also be able to vouch this why I would say I'm a good judge of character. Yeah. I would also say on the other side of that I don't think I make a very good first impression.
Why can I vouch for that?
Because like when we first met, like you
were talking about
no, it doesn't matter what we were talking.
Do you want me to I do remember.
Of course you do, and that's why I brought it up. But it's not just you. Like I know, like sometimes, but it's not even that. It's just like at the time, like I could just go, I was young or whatever. But like. I just, like, I know that, like, because I've heard it from enough people, and it's like, okay, these jokes or things that I say because I'm socially awkward,
but you were
I
never
think
like,
is funny.
You were never, like, sleazy or just, like, when I met you.
No, like, I've never been.
I'd met but there's heaps of guys who are like, I've never been a sleaze, and it's like, every girl I know avoids you. Do you know what I mean? So, but when I met you, I met a whole bunch of dudes, and you were funny, which is good, but you weren't someone where I was like, hey, we should avoid that Daniel Towns guy.
Oh, look.
So it wasn't that bad of an impression.
All I have ever done after gigs is got home and gotten stoned.
I didn't mean in that sense. I just meant in the sense that there's people you meet where you get a gross vibe from them. Not even in the sense they're going to be a sleaze, just they're not going to be a pleasant person to talk to.
I mean, I see it. I mean, what was the name at the time? Justine Rogers when she was new. I even said, it was the first time I'd met her, and like I even said to her, I think it was Happy Endings, and I even said to her like, oh, how many guys like have tried? You know, like because because I see it, and it, like I said, you know, you see the ones that got into comedy to hang out at the bar afterwards and go, hey, I'm the comedian.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about people's motivations before, whatever it is. Like I just can't. I don't know.
Well, it's been gross to find out the other side. I mean, I always knew, but when I started with Mads. And Ben had told me years later where he was like, yeah, people were like, which cloud girl would you go?
Yeah.
And there was teams.
It was pretty gross.
Over me or
really?
Mads. Yeah, how fucking disgusting is that?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, of course. It happens.
Don't be like, of course.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying, of course, as though, oh yeah, come on, man, like we'll get on board. I'm saying, of course,
So
like, are you
gross.
actually surprised? Whenever there's a fucking new girl in comedy, there's a contingent of dudes that are just disgusting.
I just think that's that's any
So
industry.
gross.
I think, if it's any, yes, you're right. It probably is any.
You know what I mean?
industry.
It's like it's like
Yeah, but it's dealt with differently in
no,
in
of
comedy.
course.
But you don't-
That's the difference here. It's that's the regulation of it.
In comedy, it's like, I can help you if you want to get some gigs in some shitholes. Just contact me.
Sam, when you
You're
say
like,
you don't
"No."
think you leave a good first impression, like
Yeah,
I
your
think,
impression was way better than other dudes.
But
Yeah, I
even
mean-
I just think this because maybe it's something I've just built up into nothing, but it's just something I've got off a few people. Definitely aware of it with you. Like I know, like there's never been a problem with this, but I know out of the whole group, like
With us? What do you mean?
yeah, like yourself and Madeline, like we get along great. But like
Yeah.
out of how the group formed, like when it was Nick and Justin and me, and then Ben
Ben
and
and Eric
everyone
and-
came
yeah.
along, like you've always been a lot closer with everyone else. You know what I mean? And that's nothing on like that first meeting. I'm just
It's
saying,
not reflective of that.
No,
Well, I
I don't
thought it
think
was
so at all.
more you are very sheltered in how you will discuss things.
Yeah, massively. I keep my cards, especially
Very
personally.
close to your chest.
I
Yeah,
do.
and that's fine, but that limits the growth of a friendship.
No, I know that as
But
well.
I push you a bit. Like
but I
when
also-
shit's happened in the past with both of us that's personal, I'll be like, Towns, how did it go? Like, and you'll be like,
at your guts.
Yeah, but I'll tell you. But like, I also like I need to feel like I know someone before I can.
yeah.
You know, before, and it's like anything, right? You want to know you can.
I'm the opposite. Like,
Oh, you're the worst. I
know.
still remember one
the
time we were
worst.
walking down
Benny.
the street and he said something to someone.
yeah.
Like about someone else. And I was
Yeah.
like, when we left, I was like, how do you know that guy? He goes, just met him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I think you should probably keep your opinions.
Yeah. I think I either leave a really good first impression or like the worst first impression.
Depends how many of their friends you insult.
Yeah, well, I don't shoot my mouth off in front of strangers anymore. Thankfully, I've learnt that over the years that's never a good idea. But but I'm not like you in the sense of like keeping my cards close to my chest. It's like whatever mood I'm in that mood like 110%, and there's no way I can talk about anything other than that mood.
Yeah, you talk about it with just the right people though. Like you don't just tell everyone. You know.
But
what I
I'll
mean?
talk honestly with anyone if I like them. If
Oh,
I
no,
don't,
no,
if
of
I
course,
don't
if you
like
like
them,
it,
I'll be
yeah,
like,
sure.
great seeing you.
No, of course.
Very
If
little.
it's someone you like and you get along with, and it's like, yeah,
I'll
like
talk to them about anything.
yeah. But if it's just like, no, you don't need to know this information. Like,
So you're calling Ben a goss?
no, not Ben at all. Like,
No,
I'm
it's
just thinking
okay,
of
we
other.
know.
I'm
Oh,
thinking,
I do like gossip.
I'm thinking other examples. Like, if someone like some people don't need to know everything about you.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, like, so, and it's like, oh, fucking hell. Like, people, it's just how to get at people, right? If people know your weaknesses and what set you off.
Man, you were like going
Yeah,
into
man.
battle every day.
No. I'm just saying, like, on a preservation level, like. You know.
But when like what are you talking about? Who's out to fucking?
Like, why does everyone need to know every little detail? Like, if someone figured something out that triggered you off,
Yeah.
you know, and it's off, and then you know.
But I think people don't need to know everything. But I mean, I think the line for what people are willing to share is very different. Like Ben probably has few things where he's like, I'm not discussing that with people.
Yeah.
I have things where I'm like, I'm not discussing that with people. But I think my line is much further away than yours. Whereas you're like, I'm not telling people if I'm in a relationship.
But no, I'll definitely do that.
No, but
then
you
it's
know what
like-
I mean? Like, I'm pulling it as far back as you can. Whereas I'll be like,
sure, but sometimes like there's like you got to check the reason behind sometimes people's like level of what they're prepared to discuss.
yeah, of
You know,
course.
like there's always sometimes there's other. Like I'm not that guarded. Like I'll discuss anything. You know, like
yeah,
I'll-
but you want to like be respectful.
yeah, of course. There's that level of things.
Or you don't want to be the guy that's just fucking, machine gunning everyone else with your bullshit.
And also, like, it's just fucking boring. Like, I don't want to talk. Like, honestly, I don't. Like, I'd rather talk about, like, what have you been doing?
But people love like Ben. I think you're similar. You can say if you disagree, but like I have people all the time just telling me stuff.
Yeah.
and I think it's because they know I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, people tell me
So,
stuff too.
yeah,
Because,
so I'll
and
be
also
like-
because I don't tell people shit.
Yeah, same.
Oh, but I'll tell people stuff. Like I I mean,
No, he means he
within
won't spread the fucking.
Yeah, fuck no.
Like
if
the amount of
I
times
sit down and someone's like, sorry, but if someone's like, I'm like, hey, how you going? Like you said, and they're like, this happened. It's like, brrr, like all their personal shit. Then.
Vault it.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell other people unless they don't care. Like I met someone for the first time at a gig and I'd said to Chris, my partner, I was like, oh, like, people always tell me stuff, like even if I don't invite it, even if I don't know them. And he's like, I'm sure it's not like that. I sat down at a gig with him. He went on. By the time he came back, this girl I just met, she didn't care that other people know. She was like, oh, I can't drink wine anymore because otherwise I won't be able to come when I fuck my boyfriend. He came back and he was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, she can't come if she drinks wine. Like just out of nowhere. Like, so that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, no, I get that as well. Like I know I've got a friend and I actually get frustrated like now because when he's going to tell me something, he always does the preamble of you can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, see, but that's so ridiculous.
No, but you do have to. You still have to say it.
But it's like, come on, man. Like we talk like regularly. Like,
it's just covering your own bases because I do the same with my close friends. You can't tell anyone. But it's just so I've got that clause in the contract.
Yeah, but it just like for me it frustrates me because I just go. Like, and this is a couple of years ago now, but like I still back because it was like, man, who am I going to tell? Like
that's what I say. Who the fuck am I going to tell?
Like, I go, like how many people do I talk to? And when have I ever hung out at the end of a gig? What do? I go home and I pack a cone.
Weren't you?
Like, what am I? No, you like being realistic.
Yeah, weren't you going to turn up at like Martin Place the next day with a bullhorn and like just shout it out to everyone?
But at the time, it's like, look who you're talking to. Before you say don't tell anyone, look who you're talking to. You know who I talk to, like how many people, and you know, like I don't drink.
But look at you. You're taking that as like an insult against your integrity. That's how you're seeing it. You're seeing it as
I think
like
they're
someone
overextending the amount of people that
care,
hang out with. And, like,
I think that I do this. I'm guilty of this, but I think people. We think our lives are so much more exciting.
Oh, we think that everyone, especially...
Like, don't tell anyone. It's like, who the fuck's going to care?
No, but it's this weird dichotomy because in comedy, it's like, you're constantly kind of in a position where, ideally you want everyone to think well of you, if not solely as a comic, then as a person as well. And there is this weird dichotomy where it's like everyone is self-obsessed and thinking about themselves and not thinking about you. However, it is also like the fucking schoolyard where gossip reigns supreme, and if someone farts, everyone's fucking talking about it.
Yeah, but it lasts about a minute.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know, but it's, it still feeds that. I think everyone it's probably not just comedy, it's probably the arts in general or small communities of,
Well, the 48-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
Like the only thing,
minute news cycle.
Well, honestly, the only thing I've actually seen outlast that was the shooting in the States that the one that kicked off that movement online with the Emma for Change, the Emma Gonzalez and all the kids. What was it, Marjorie
Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah, whichever one it was. And they were saying, these kids are crisis actors. And I can't believe I let myself get to this because I never engage in anything on the internet. Because there's no point. You're not going to change anyone's minds. And then eventually I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're probably arguing with a robot.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even... But like there was a few times like where they're saying, this is a crisis actor. Here he is graduating from Redondo High School like 4 years ago in Los Angeles. And I'm like, well, then why is the guy in the top center... got a Parkland Eagles t-shirt on?
Yeah, you're like
you know what I mean? Like if you're going to do it, like at least crop that guy out. Like if you're going to spread lies, at least crop the guy out.
Put more effort in. Yeah. You don't need to.
But I remember you and I watched a bunch of 9/11 documentaries in the early 2000s together. Yeah. And we were very, very convinced that documentary was 100% true.
Yeah.
Good doco.
Well, I'm sure if I watched it now, I would see a lot of glaring holes in it. I think when you want to believe something or a narrative makes sense to you, you go down that path of wanting to believe it.
I think we just want security as well.
And that's what conspiracy thinking is.
Like,
it's like the world's not out of control. The Komodo dragons are running the show, and at least that makes sense.
Exactly. A bunch of students didn't get shot. It's just actors who are trying to get rid of something that we like. Like, it's just, trying to look for comfort.
Oh, and people...
In the most fucked way possible.
No one wants to believe that anyone is capable of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried a bit on conspiracy theories on stage. And, like, I've always said I'm open to them. Like
I'm open to it.
I'm open to anything.
But unless you were at the meeting with fucking Dick Cheney,
no one knows.
Decided what explosives were going to blow up the Twin Towers, you probably shouldn't say you definitely know for sure.
No one knows anything, but then at the same time, nothing would surprise me. Like until you know what I mean. It's like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's a good way to think.
I am open to things, and like some of them, you just go, oh. And that one, like once they're talking crisis actors and once they got kids involved, you winding me up?
No. She's just...
No, it's all right. I just feel like we're crushing it. No,
I feel like we are crushing
I feel like we've had a good chat. I mean, karma, justice, and passion.
I've learned stuff.
The AWCA.
If my vacuum cleaner fucks out, I'm calling you.
Any electrical appliance.
Fridges, $10,000 fridges.
Well, before we do wrap it, is there, other than like consumer advocacy, is there anything like, consumer advocacy and comedy? What's like a core passion of yours that might not be obvious?
Yeah.
Honestly,
like what? Yeah.
Oh fuck, I don't know.
Like and Nintendo doesn't count.
Yeah, I was going to say if someone wanted me to list my interests, it's like what would actually get me to like if I met a stranger on the street because one thing. All right, you want to know one of my major interests?
Yeah,
my own time.
But is that a passion?
Oh, I would say preserving it is.
What's the last thing you listened to, watched, experienced, whatever, where you felt like overwhelmed by it or like.
You mean overwhelmed? Like,
or just touched, like affected?
Yeah, you were affected or touched by
like to a point where I went, oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't going to mean anything because it's going to, like when you want to talk about a feeling, it's going to go, because it was the Legend of Zelda Symphony Orchestra at the Opera House.
No, but that's great.
That's if you want to talk about a feeling, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, like I've laughed and stuff since.
Yeah. But seriously,
but like when a time when, no, it was nothing. It was just like my favourite video game franchise for such a long time. And I got to see all the music from all the games. And,
sick.
But honestly, for a perfect stranger to lock me down in a conversation with like what I want to do with my life and like how many hours there are in a day and what I want to get done. Like for someone that doesn't know me and like for me to stop and chat probably with a perfect stranger and have a conversation, it would have to be about very limited things. Yeah. Like and it'd either be like.
Is comedy up there?
Yeah, of course comedy's in there. Yeah. There'd all be things like my interests. So it'd be like comedy, hip hop, photography,
video games.
Yeah, video games, like health, like diet and like ways to like not pinch nerves and slip discs.
Yeah.
And, basically things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Or things that I'm trying to learn about.
Are they things that you've always been interested in, or are they just like of now?
No, they're always. They're
cool.
always. And as I've gotten older, I guess I realise it's like, fuck, like I won't say I definitely have one preferred type of music, but like the majority of my music is hip hop. It's like, okay, this is clearly more than just an interest. Yeah. This is something I'm actually... Well, because
it's for however long you've
this is something I'm actually passionate about. So you look at what things you're actually interested in. So if I'm talking to someone, so what the fuck are we talking about bread for? Yeah. Like, I want to talk about...
Can I just ask with comedy, I think you've been really passionate about it since day one, but has that passion changed over the years, like where, just through experience or readjusting of expectation or, just having done it for ages, like has the passion changed? Like, do you get the same excitement before you go on stage?
Oh, look, it depends how you look at comedy. How I guess professional surfers would look at rip curl, and for me, it's not actually about each individual gig. It's about the search, and like I'm just looking for that perfect joke. So, no, you know what I mean? Like, the passion for me with comedy is not like each individual. Like, obviously, you want each individual gig to go well. Yeah. But like, I like the technicality of it and the playing around with the ingredients. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's a technical thing, and that's why the majority of my favorites are like very passionate people, where it's pure passion, or like technicians. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh fuck, that is purely technical. Yeah. Like I like, and it's the same with music. Like, it's like, what do I like? Don't get me wrong, everyone loves a banging beat. Yeah. But like, I'd rather listen to lyricism. Yeah. And I think that's where comedy and hip hop are very similar. Like, you have to listen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the lyrical stuff. Like, you can't just have it on in the background. Like, because then it does just sound like some dude shouting or whatever. And it's like, no, listen to what the guy's saying.
Yeah.
Or listen to what she's saying.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like comedy. You can't just hear it. Music can be background.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah, comedy is not background. And I like stuff that... There's the same guy in the UK, his test of a good joke, and I fucking love this. It's, can I... Like, do I find it funny if I'm driving the car? And I'm probably butchering this, but it's like, can I still... I don't want to see anything, don't want to have to picture anything. Like, just, can I be driving my car with all those other distractions on, happening around me, and still find it funny?
Yeah, right.
So it all hangs on the wording.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And that's become your aim when
Cutting of
you
the
write
fat.
jokes now?
No, it's just always like, that's what excites me about comedy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the nightly, like, I still get nervous before big gigs, but I know I can also roll out of bed and
Yeah.
still put on a solid gig
Yeah.
based on the, like, I just think that's what interests me. So that's what I kind of like.
It's interesting because it's funny you say that because I've noticed that, you know, recently in the last 2 years I've gotten over a lot of my kind of nervousness of being on stage or something, and so I have kind of developed a much more of a passion for the technicality of things.
Well, it's amazing.
Stuff that I felt like I was out of my control before
Yeah,
because I was like, I didn't really know what I'm doing. Whereas now it's like, no, you know what you're doing, and now pull it back,
Yeah.
re-examine
Rein it
that
in.
thing. Yeah.
And just strip it down to the core of
Yeah, exactly.
what needs to be said.
Yeah,
like, because
yeah.
so much of it, I find, like with me, when I'm trying to say something and it's not working, like I'll look at it again and go, what am I actually trying to say?
To make it clearer.
And generally, like, that is so simple. Like, we're doing it in a conversation now. It's just, and I think sometimes when you get stuck writing, you overthink things.
Yeah.
Like, I can spend 3 months with a festival show, like, playing around, and all I'm really doing is changing it from, like, I don't even know, like, this is from the first person to the third person.
Yep.
You know, instead of saying, I did this or I did... It's like, you know, when you do this or you do... And it's like,
Sometimes
that's the last 3 months of it, though. Like, just fucking try it on stage now. Your instincts will kick in.
Yeah.
And you'll find the best way to do it.
Yep.
Like, don't just...
Play with the audience.
Know what you're going to say, but not how you're going to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think knowing where the end is and what the overall... What's this about at its core?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Yeah.
You could ask that of all existence, right?
No, of course.
What the fuck is the point of this?
Well, what's the point? We don't know. Where are we going? The dirt or a fire pit?
Full circle.
Lovely. Hey,
Thank
thanks
you,
so
Daniel.
much, Daniel Towns.
Well, thanks for having me. That was
What word would you like to chuck in the hat?
What word would I like to... What, for next week? How
Well,
many-
no,
just
whenever.
to be in the hat.
I don't know. How many can I...
You can just
One.
choose one, you fuck.
Okay, well, I wrote down a couple of options.
Okay.
Just because they were just continuations of things that we were discussing tonight, and I thought they were quite interesting. Oh,
Okay.
Guilt. Have you had guilt?
No.
No, guilt. Do guilt.
Because I did quite like... I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, great.
You know, and
Thank you.
See where you take it with...
Guilt from Daniel Towns.
What's your social medias?
How do we find you online?
That's just at... Depends. They're all different, mate. Like,
Say them. So
well,
Twitter.
Twitter is at Daniel Towns. Instagram is at Daniel_Towns. Facebook is, I think, Daniel Towns Comedy.
Just type Daniel Towns into Google.
Daniel
I'll
Towns
just
comedian. Look for him.
yeah. Check it out.
Thank
man.
you so much for talking to us about passion.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
You can find Oink Time at Oink Time Pod on Twitter. I'm Jen Carnivale. You can find my stuff at jencarnivale.com or Jen Carnivale on Facebook and Jen_Carnivale on Twitter.
And I'm on Twitter at Ben Elwood. At Ben Elwood 11.
Yes.
I always found this the hardest part.
That's the worst. Isn't it?
See, if I was smart, I'd be plugging my own
Smooth.
podcast. But I always found this, like, I never did
Plug
it.
your own podcast.
I don't really do it. Anyway, I never did it once. Why would I plug it on yours? I didn't plug it on my own. I'm not going to plug the Daniel Towns podcast on yours.
Well, go to iTunes and listen to old episodes of the Daniel Towns podcast.
I'll tell you, I will say, though, it is very good
Yeah, it's very good.
to be back in the media.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Daniel.